Hi, and welcome to Qigong Live Online today. And so welcome back. I've been away, I have a bit of a break. So let's get some warm up and we'll do some class today. We're going to do some interesting topic today. So we'll just do some warm ups first today. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Bali, blue sky day. But the weather's been like this for a fair while now. It's been months with blue sky days, which you get quite used to, I must admit. So do the turtleneck. This is called turtleneck, where you go forward with your head and pull it back. Go forward and pull it back. And then go the other way where you scoop it up and go backwards. It's a great exercise for your neck. Eh? One side. Good. That's your neck. So normally, of course, we do more longer warm-up exercises. This is the shortened version of the warm-up exercises. But I don't want to spend all day just doing the exercises. So this is the shortened version. But there's lots of stretches. Of course, you have your own stretching routine. Most people have a way of stretching and what they like to do to stretch. These are just some ones I do. Normally I do sinew stretching, the sinew releasing or relaxing movements. But we're not doing those today. We're going to do a different set today. We're going to do actual muscle stretching, slightly different. If you go on, both of these routines, these stretching routines are on the beginner series on YouTube. You can find them in the beginners playlist, and the stretching sequences, the full sequences. But we just do a few today just to warm ourselves up a bit. Stretch our shoulders. Very good. Do our elbows. Very good. Do our wrists. So the subject today is stillness. Now, we've done this a few times. Said stillness, it's probably one of the most misunderstood words, because stillness is not necessarily what we think it is. And everybody has a different opinion of what stillness is anyway. And I'm not saying any of them are wrong or right. You're all right. They're all just different. And if you've got a room of people, you've got 40 people in the room and you ask them what stillness is, you get 40 different understandings of what that word means. And depending on your own interpretation of your own experience of that in your life. So I'll take you into a particular part of the experience of stillness today inside the class. Yep. And as I say, there's lots of different parts to this, because you can have mental stillness, you can have spiritual stillness, you can have physical stillness. You can have emotional stillness. You can have social stillness. There's a lot of different pieces to this. So we're going to go into a little bit of the physical stillness. I think it's a nice place to start, to understand a concept. And if we talk about physical stillness, we talk about non-movement or non-action. And Wu Wei, which is non-action, which is part of the whole understanding of Qigong. And we're going to do that today. So cool. That's fine. And come forward. And go backwards. And forward. And backwards. Go side and side. So this is all parts for that spine. So we've done the forward and backwards movement, the side and side movement of the spine. Now we do the rotation of the spine. And there's 4 parts to this. We're going to do this, but at the moment we're rotating our hips as well. So we're rotating our hip joints, our knees and our ankles as well. But the next one we're going to isolate the spine itself. And how you do that is by not moving your hips and keep your hips locked and just move the top part of your body. Yep. If you've never done this, it's a weird experience because you're not moving your hips and you're just moving your spine. And not everyone can actually even do that. So keep your spine locked. I say locked, it's a prolonged way to keep your spine, keep your hips still. Don't like the idea of lock. You don't like to lock anything in Qigong. You don't want everything moving all the time. But we're just using our spine to rotate our spine without moving our hips. Keep our hips still. There you go. Very good. Now I'll do a rotation with the hips now. Now watching Taiji, if you've ever watched Taiji on a video, it's a very, very boring thing to watch. It's an extraordinarily beautiful thing, but it's like watching paint dry. I shouldn't say that's not a judgment, by the way. It's just a terminology. Because when something goes really slow, it's quite hard to just sit there and watch somebody going really slowly. And you sit there in your mind, you find your mind going really busy and you go, oh, okay, get on with it, do more. Because we're so stimulated by lots of movement in our mind and our visual idea of life. Life works a certain speed. And we're used to that speed. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about the speed that people go. Now, everybody has their own speed. And the countries have their own speed, which is phenomenal. And I've just experienced different countries in Europe where they travel different speed than other countries. And the people walk at a different speed, they drive a different speed. But their whole actions of how they move around and drink a cup of tea, sit in the cafe, there's a certain speed that people go. And everywhere it's different. It's different here in Bali as well. Notice what's different in New Zealand. And they have their own sort of speed. And if you've ever been to New York, everybody runs. They go really fast in New York. And so it's London goes quite quick as well. The big cities, it's interesting. And so it's just the speed thing. And it's noticeable. I notice how fast people go because I try to move slower, go slower than everybody else, and just be in a relaxed state and try and do the relaxation thing. And so I observed the speed of people. Somebody asked me, how do you experience the oneness? I said, there's an easy way of doing this. And that is if you go out in the street, wherever you live, in a busy street, and you go slower than everybody else. Now, if you go slower than everybody else, now me just walk slower than everybody else and just stand quietly, but just walk slower than everybody else. And all of a sudden, everybody's rushing around. You've seen those time-lapse films where you see the intersection where everybody goes across flat out, and you see somebody standing there and everybody's going flat out around them. You have that experience of what it feels like when everybody else is moving really quickly and you're not. You're going really slow. Yeah, and you have that beautiful experience of the slowness, and all of a sudden you pull yourself out of that speed. You pull yourself out of that experience as well. And all of a sudden you're going slower. Anybody else is going faster, and all of a sudden it's like there's a them going on, and then there's a you, and you're by yourself, and everybody else is going fast, just like that in the video. You've seen the videos. And you have that experience of being in another world where everybody's not, inside the quietness, inside the stillness. It's a very unique experience, and that's one of the easiest ways you can have that experience. Is like go on a busy street and just walk slowly. And you have to do it for a little while, and then all of a sudden you realise how fast everybody's going and how slow you're going. And you almost disassociate yourself from that time realm, that time speed or that time zone. It's like you pull yourself into a different place. Very unique experience, so I encourage you to try that if you've never done that before. I've done it a few times. I've taken classes and done that. It's been quite remarkable, the experience of that. For your hamstrings, eh? And lean backwards. Yeah, good. Put your foot up. The other side. Yeah, good. Do our knees. Good. And then just do our feet, eh? There you go. So that's a good basic stretching for the day. Nice and quick. Just the idea is to wake up every ligament, every tendon in your body, get everything awake, get everything stretched. Perfect. There you go. Very good. So we'll bow into class. Roll back onto your thumbs. Left hand underneath, right hand on top. Two thumbs together. Gong. Make a fist with the left hand, cover with your right. Bring it towards your heart. And then down to your lower dantian. Very good. So, stillness. The art of stillness. So what I explained before is a great example of physical stillness. And that's, as I say, going to a busy street and just go quiet. Or if even better still, go into a busy street and just stop. And just stand there motionless. And don't look around, just stop. And then watch everything else moving. But don't move your head or move your eyes, just look. Look out in front and then be aware of everything moving. Because if you use your eyes to start doing your eyes from side to side, then your eyes are going to go just the same speed. Your eyes will go just as fast as they're going. And so you've got to actually not look at anything and just look out and use your peripheral vision, your vision from the side, and just watch everything moving. But don't look at anything. Look without looking is the terminology. And so then you have that experience of when you're just looking straight ahead and it's quiet and just don't move. People think there's something wrong with you, but it's okay, don't worry about it. And then you observe the speed of everything. As I say, it's different speed everywhere you go. And I notice it because I'm interested in the cadence of how people walk, the speed that people walk, the speed of the energy and you go into little villages, and we're in Italy and in Tuscany, they move a certain speed. Cities are different speed, towns are different speed. It doesn't always mean that the town's slow, by the way. Sometimes the little towns aren't slow, sometimes they're really busy. Depends. It's not always you think that the small, quiet, sleepy little village will be slow, but that's not necessarily true. It can be the other way. So there's an experience of that stillness inside yourself. So this is physical stillness. And of course, the one we want, well, I shouldn't say the one we want, one we would like. Some people would like it, not everybody. Would like mental stillness. Now, that's a whole other thing. So we can, with practice, and Qigong is one of the art form of that, the Qigong can help you slow your mind down. and get your mind to actually stop. And then you control your mind. When you have a thoughts, you're not the thoughts. You're the person or the consciousness listening to the thoughts as they come. You can hear the thoughts and you get to choose what you do with the thoughts. And you have to disassociate yourself from the thoughts being you to you having thoughts. Rumi talks about that. You have thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. You have a physical body, but you're not a physical body. So we're the observer of that. We're the observer of the thoughts. Yep. And so part of that is to understand that principle of that. And so we're going to do a couple. We'll do a physical stillness, because physical stillness is a lot easier. And we'll attempt inside the physical stillness is to go to a place where you're mentally quiet and show you how you can switch your mind off. Now, spiritual stillness, which people ask me about, is a different thing again. Spiritual stillness is about your relationship with your soul and having a quiet soul. The soul that, in theory, that lives inside your heart, the soul that lives in who you really are, your real character and your real personality and your real intellect, that part, and having a stillness in your soul. And you'll know when people aren't. You would have met people where their souls aren't still. They're all over the place. It won't be you, but you're all over the place. And you meet them and go, whoa, this person's dispersed. Their energy's all over the place. There's a term for in Chinese medicine it's called, and how you fix that is called housing your shen. Shen's like your spirit or your soul. And to house your shen back into your heart and to get it in, because sometimes it wanders. And you can tell people when they're like that, well, there's no stillness in that. And we're trying to get that stillness back. So there's the three understandings of them. So we'll try to endeavor to do all of them. And I'll do an exercise that helps to house your soul back into your heart. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but we'll do the physical stillness first. Now, physical stillness is there's a difference between physical stillness and stop. Because when you stop, you're actually not moving at all. And that's not even an easy thing to do either, as well as actually stop. Because when you stop, there's always something going on. So the process of this is you want to stand perfectly still, and you don't want to move your eyes. You're wherever you're looking, but don't look at anything. Don't focus on something on the wall or the TV screen or me, whatever you're looking at. Don't focus on anything. Just look out and stop. Hold your breath. Or stop breathing. I shouldn't say hold your breath. Stop breathing for that 4 seconds, and just feel the whole body shut down, so nothing moves. It's completely still for that 4 seconds. You ready? Okay. Just breathe in and breathe out normally. I'll call a stop. Wherever I call a stop, don't take a breath in. Just stop where your breathing cycle is. And stop. Good. And breathe in again. Now you could also notice the body swaying inside this motion. Even though you stop, you find there's movement inside your body. You could feel your heart. You could feel your heart beating. You could feel the pulsing through your arms. Doesn't matter. We'll try it again. But just be aware of it. Just be aware of be aware of the stillness, and let your consciousness, your awareness, be aware of the stillness, and just see what it feels like. And no movement, no breath, just quiet. Leah, welcome to the class, Leah. And take a breath in. No, don't breathe in, breathe out. Just do breathe in and breathe out normally, and I'll tell you when. And stop. Good. And breathe in again. If anybody comes online and watches this, they'll think their video is frozen. Watching paint dry. We'll try it again. Now, everybody's going to observe something different happen. If you've got aches and pains in your body, if you've got some disturbances or any chi blockages in your body, you could pick that up too. It'll start aching, and your mind will go straight to where the pain is. Because the mind's going to be trying to get occupied during this time, because it doesn't like not doing anything, and you've shut it off. It's not going to like this. And so it'll go start finding things to keep itself amused. It'll start looking at things. It just does that. But it's okay. Just let it do that and be aware that it's doing that. And then you just tell the mind, be quiet and do nothing. Okay. And once again, breathe in and out normally. And stop. Good. And then breathe again. I love that space. It's a very, very cool. It's a very, very beautiful place. So that stop. Now inside that stop, there is a certain stillness. But if you go from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, after 6 seconds, it's not still anymore. It starts moving. You can feel the blood. You can feel the heart beating up. Heart speeding up, not beating up. Yeah, so that's that movement. So now we'll take the idea that you can have stillness inside the quietness. You can have stillness inside the stop. But I don't say it's always the easiest way, but it's a beautiful experience of just not movement. And then you can start moving again. So it's a very, very cool experience of that. So this time we'll do a movement. We'll do an exercise. We'll do the exercise from the 5 element. We'll do the metal element, which is the lung exercise. And we will do this exercise. There's 4 parts to it. Because I picked this one because it stops inside this exercise as well. So bring our fingers together like that. And bring your hands up. I'll show you the exercise first and then we'll use it. It turns over at your chest. Make this like a diamond shape. It's in front of your heart. Pushes out from your heart, and your lungs. Comes to the side. And then the hands go down. Good. Link our thumb and our index finger together. Ooh. Breathing in, comes up, turn the hands over. So just rotate the hands over. Push your hands forward. Now don't straighten your arms. When you get to the front, there's slight bend. Don't have them locked straight. Have them slightly bent. And when they come to the side, they're slightly bent as well. And then they come down. So we don't have straight arms through any part of the exercise. Link the fingers. Now breathe in as you come up. Turn your hands over. Breathe out. So when we pick our hands up, we don't pick our shoulders up. Breathing in. And breathing out. So there's 4 parts to the breathing. 2 in and out breaths. Breathe in when you come up. And then breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Beautiful exercise. So we're going to go back to the stops. And we'll introduce the stops inside this exercise. Where you don't move, you don't breathe. And you don't hold your breath, you just don't breathe. There's a difference between holding your breath and not breathing. Good. And we're going to stop as the changes of each in and out breath. So breathe in. And then stop. Breathe out. And stop. Breathe in. Stop. Breathe out. 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 Stop. Good. Then just relax. Breathe in out normally. Now, you would have observed what was happening inside that. There's a few things that happen. So one is when you breathe in, the fight and flight doesn't kick in so far because you're full of oxygen, and the body knows you've got lots of oxygen in your lungs, so it keeps absorbing the oxygen through the bronchioles, keep opening, taking the oxygen into the blood and start circulating. It doesn't mind doing that. And part of Qigong is to hold a lot more oxygen in your lungs so you get more breath, so it doesn't react to that. But it reacts quicker when you breathe out and you're holding your breath on the out breath. And as you breathe out and you empty your lungs and you get rid of the carbon dioxide out of the body and stop at the bottom, then the body goes into panic a lot quicker because it's waiting for you to breathe in and you're not breathing in. And it knows you're not breathing in and goes, ooh, what's happened? What's happened? Why aren't you breathing in? But when you hold your breath, because we've done this before, and when we hold our breath, we still have oxygen, so the body's not panicking yet until it starts going, oh, hang on a second, we're not breathing. But when you breathe out and you stop breathing, it kicks in quicker. And I just observed it then in my own body, doing exactly that. On the out breath, the 4 or 5 seconds before it starts going, oh, hang on a second, you need to breathe. So it's interesting. So I want to do that again. So we'll do it one more time so you get to observe that in yourself if you didn't already observe it for yourself before. We'll do it again. Yep. So I want you to breathe in. And then I want you to breathe out. And then stop. Breathe in. Stop. Breathe out. Stop. Breathe in. Stop. Breathe out. And stop. Good. And then just breathe normally. Yep, so it's really amplified there, so you would have observed what happens. So when you take the in-breath, it's not so uncomfortable as the out-breath. When you breathe the bottom of the out-breath and you hold the breath, the body goes and changes quicker. It knows you're not doing that. Well, that's for me anyway. Everybody might be different. So as I say, this is not a uniform thing because everybody's breath is different. We're different human beings. I'm just explaining my experience so you can understand it. And you might have a similar experience, but it'll be your own one, and it'll be different. So that's the stillness. So what we're creating is the stillness inside the stop. But now we want to create the stillness inside the movement. And how we do that is the slower the movement, the easier it is for the stillness. Now, the easiest way to do this is to not do a breath pattern. Don't do a breathe in, breathe out. Just breathe in and breathe out normally and just go slow. So we're not doing a long out breath. I'll do a different exercise. We'll do a breath pattern with a really long breath pattern. So we'll do Embrace the Mountain from the Shu system. So normally when we do this breath, it starts from the bottom and you rock back onto your heels first. Good. Your toes are on the ground, but you're on your heels. Bring your hands forward and then turn your palms over. And as you open, you want to rock forward onto the front part of your feet. Now your knees are slightly bent. And as you close, you rock back onto your heels. And then you lower your arms down again. Good. So that's the exercise. So it comes from the bottom. We're on our heels at the moment. We bring our hands up. We don't change our weight to the front of the feet till we open. As we open, we rock forward. Good. As we rock back, we close. And stay on our heels and the hands come up and down. So while we're on the back, while we're lifting our arms up and we're bringing them down at the end, we're on our heels. The only time you rock forward is when you go open and you rock back when you close. And the rest of the time you stay on your heels. Yep. So the breath pattern for that is a really long breath. It starts from the bottom, back on your heels, breathing in, rocking forward, and it's a big in breath all the way to there, and it's a big out breath all the way from there. Breathing out, back onto your heels, and keep breathing out as you go back down again. So that's the breath pattern. It's long in breath, long out breath. Breathing in, keep breathing in, and breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, and breathing out. Good. Now, of course, that's designed to increase your breath capacity. What part of that exercise has lots of different pieces. It's for your lungs and your heart. But what it does is increase the capacity of your lungs and increases the capacity to absorb more oxygen. You absorb more oxygen. The longer you have the in-breath inside your lungs, your body will just keep absorbing oxygen. But if you short breath and breathe in and out, well, the oxygen's in there not very long, so it's only going to absorb so much oxygen. But if you take a long breath in, the oxygen's in your lungs a lot longer, so it has more opportunity to absorb more oxygen, so you get more energy from it. That's why one of the reasons why you breathe slow, quiet breaths in Qigong, so you get more oxygen. So if you get more oxygen, of course, you get more energy. It's a really simple equation. That exercise is a very long, slow in-breath. And so you're having the oxygen in there for a long time. As you're breathing in, it's a long space of time to breathe in. It's a long in-breath. So you have a lot of oxygen, so you absorb lots of energy from that exercise. But we want to use it for the stillness. So if we do that, then our focus is going to be on this really long breath. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to focus on the stillness. Focus on stillness. That's a bit of a conundrum. You can't really focus on stillness, not focus on the stillness. So you're going to bring your hands up, but I just want you to breathe normally. You can still do the same exercise, though. Rock back onto your heels and just breathe in and out. And don't think about in and out breaths, just breathe in and out. It doesn't matter where you get to when you open, rocking forward onto the front part of your feet. And then breathe in and out, just normal in and out breath. Good. So you're not worried about a breath pattern of the exercise, you're just breathing normally. Now this time I want you to watch your arms. Well, watch your arms. Don't look at your arms, but just be aware of your arms going slow. Just breathe in and out normally. Good. And then close. And just breathe in and out normally. Don't think of your breath. Just observe your hands. Don't look at your hands, just be aware of them. Okay, go slower. Introduce the idea, the concept of stillness in your arms. Have your arms as empty as possible. So as soon as I do that, I immediately go into a different place in the world. So there's the birds, I hear the birds singing, hear everything else, but everything else is going faster again. And I've just disappeared in some really slow place, which is like a different world. And you're going to get the same experience. Hopefully you get the same experience of being in this other space. Just keep breathing in normally, and I want your arms to go slower. When you're looking out, don't look at anything. If you catch your mind will try and grab hold of something, it'll look at a picture or look at something. It'll try and occupy itself. Just look without looking. Look without looking, just gaze out into the thing, but don't actually focus on anything. And just be aware of your arms moving, but don't watch your arms either, because the mind will want to watch your arms. It gives it something to do as well. Just look out and just go slow and go slower again and just breathe normally. Just be aware of the stillness inside the movement. Just be aware, just observe it in your consciousness. Do one more time. Good. We're going to do one more time. This time we're going to introduce the stop inside it. The stop is when our arms are wide open. Actually, no, we'll introduce it at the middle part as well. So start from the bottom, stop. And now just breathe in and out normally. And then stop. And then keep breathing in and out normally as you open. And then stop. And then breathing in and out normally as we close. Stop. And then breathe in and out normally as we go down. Watch the stillness. And then stop at the bottom. Good. And then just relax. You should be relaxed anyway, but you might not be. Just relax. So there you go. God, I love that space. So that's one of the joys of Qigong. It takes you into that space. It takes you into that space of stillness. And I watch what happens. My mind quietens down inside the stillness. Even though in the stop, it's a very different experience. It's the mind's quiet and it's the stillness where I stop. But the mind's quiet when I'm moving as well. I'm just breathing. I stop the breathing, of course. So there's a different experience. They're all different experiences. But what that does is take you into this other realm of existence as a human being. And I can't encourage you enough to experience this. Is to, as I say, the easiest way is to walk out in the public. It depends where you are. In your own room, there won't be any movement in your room. Be quiet except for me talking to you. But if you're outside, then it's more prevalent. It's more obvious when you stop or when you slow down outside and see everything moving quickly and have that experience. We have a boardwalk, a big boardwalk around here by the beach. And you walk down the beach, and I just go slowly down the boardwalk when I go and train in the mornings. And I walk slowly down. Everybody's going past me. They're going at a different speed and everything. And I just walk down there slowly. And I'm like in this other world. And I go out, and when I stand in front of the ocean and I train, and one of my things I like to do is to go slower than the ocean, because the ocean has little waves that come in. We have a reef out there, so there's waves that come forward. It's to go slower than the waves as well. Go slower than that, and watch the waves coming, and be stiller than the waves, and be slower than the waves, and be slower than nature itself. And as they comes in and they wash, there's a certain speed of the energy of the waves as well. And so I'm trying to slow right down to be going slower than that as well, and get down so I'm actually going slower than the actual waves are going. You can do it in nature too. You can go slower than the trees. The trees have a certain speed that they go, by the way. So if you go into a forest, you can actually be stiller than the forest. The forest can be more noisy, and I don't mean the wind blowing the trees. I mean just the energy of it is a certain speed. There you go. That's the day to today's stillness day. I don't know why. Maybe this is useful for somebody that needs a bit of stillness in their life. It helps to get mental stillness. It helps to get physical stillness. Physical stillness has a lot of benefits for you, but also the spiritual stillness is about your connection to the outside and the world and your soul gets still. Yeah. And these exercises help to bring your soul back into your heart, and then it rests in your heart quietly. That's what this exercise does. It returns your shen or your soul back into your heart. Hope you enjoy that. And if you want to go back and watch that part of it again, if you want to practice that again, go back and practice. It's a very beautiful place. Have a beautiful day today, everybody. Look back on your thumbs. Put left hand underneath, right hand on top. Gong. Bring your hands down. Very good. And I'll see you next week. I'll see you next Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock in Bali time anyway. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy the quietness. Bye-bye.